Bat incident, January 1982, Des Moines, Iowa. Ozzy Osbourne was at the peak of his solo career, and his concerts were already legendary for their chaos. Fans would throw almost anything onto the stage, from rubber toys to raw meat. It was part of the bizarre culture surrounding Ozzy, a world where no one knew where the performance ended, and reality began. At one point, a dark object landed right at Ozzy's feet. He assumed it was just another rubber toy, a prop from a joke shop. Without a second thought, he picked it up and, in front of thousands of fans, did the unthinkable. He bit its head off. However, when instead of the taste of rubber, his mouth filled with warm blood. He realized the truth the second he felt wings flapping against his lips. The bat wasn't rubber, it was real. It is a historical fact. The bat was real, though likely stunned by the heavy stage lights. The young man who threw it later claimed he brought it to the show already dead, but Ozzy's account says otherwise. He described the taste as the worst imaginable, warm, leathery, and with a horrific aftertaste that lingers forever. The concert came to an immediate halt, and Ozzy was rushed to the hospital. Fearing rabies, he had to endure weeks of painful injections just to survive the bizarre incident. Guitar solo in the sky. June 2010, Nürburgring, Germany. The band Airborne was tearing through their set at the massive Rock am Ring festival, but no one could have guessed that a standard rock show was about to turn into a scene of pure terror. Frontman Joel O'Keefe, a man whose energy knows no limits, decided to raise the bar. Literally. In the middle of a screaming guitar solo, Joel began to scale the massive metal rigging of the stage. He had no safety harness, no ropes, and no net. He climbed higher and higher. When he reached the summit, over 30 meters above the ground, he reached a moment that froze the blood of 80,000 fans. To play his solo, Joel had to let go with his hands. He stood there, balanced against the wind. But the real hard stop happened after the solo ended. Instead of a careful descent, Joel swung his guitar onto his back and dropped into a dead hang, dangling over the abyss by his hands alone. For several terrifying seconds, he risked his life, suspended in the air with nothing but his own grip strength between him and the concrete below. After the death-defying display, he climbed back down and the concert continued as if he hadn't just cheated fate. Heaven and Hell Tour, October 1980, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ozzy Osbourne was officially out of Black Sabbath, and Ronnie James Dio had taken the mic. The fans were divided, and the tension in the arena was at a breaking point. For many, a Sabbath show without Ozzy was an insult. Only 2 songs into the set, the lights went out for a brief moment. Suddenly, a heavy object was hurled from the crowd. It was either a glass bottle or, according to many sources, a heavy metal cross. The projectile struck the bassist, Geezer Butler, directly in the head. He collapsed instantly, knocked unconscious before he even hit the floor. The band rushed to his side and carried him off stage, bleeding and unresponsive. A few minutes later, the tour manager announced that the show was over. The crowd exploded into a full-scale riot. Fans began tearing the arena apart, ripping out seats and smashing windows, fighting the police. By the end of the night, 160 people were arrested and the arena was trashed. Stage collapse, August 2011, Indianapolis, USA. Thousands of people gathered in front of the massive outdoor stage, waiting for the country duo Sugarland to perform. Although the evening began calmly, dark clouds were rapidly gathering on the horizon. No one realized that in just a few minutes, the celebration would turn into a disaster zone. A sudden, violent gust of wind, known as a gust front, slammed into the festival grounds. Wind speeds reached a staggering 100 kilometers per hour. In an instant, the massive metal rigging holding the lights, speakers, and roof began to buckle under the pressure of nature. In front of a horrified audience, the steel stage structure collapsed directly onto the people in the front rows. Tons of metal and equipment fell in less than 5 seconds. There was a moment of absolute silence, quickly replaced by screams and panic. The toll was devastating. 7 people lost their lives, while over 58 others were injured. Many of the victims were fans who simply wanted to be as close as possible to their idols. Woodstock, 99, July 1999, Rome, New York. What was meant to be a revival of peace and love quickly turned into a lawless war zone. Trapped in 38 degrees Celsius heat with overpriced water and brutal conditions, the crowd's frustration reached a breaking point. On the final night, during the Red Hot Chili Peppers set, thousands of candles intended for a peaceful vigil were used to start massive bonfires. The festival grounds were instantly engulfed in flames. The crowd descended into pure anarchy. Fans looted vendor booths, stole equipment, and tore down the peace wall to fuel the fires. Some even climbed speaker towers, throwing gear into the flames while security completely lost control. The human cost was staggering. Beyond the looting and the brawls, there were 3 confirmed deaths. Even more horrific, official reports later confirmed multiple cases of sexual assault and rape. By the time the fires died out, Woodstock '99 was nothing but ashes and trash. It remains the most disastrous festival in history, a weekend where the spirit of music was replaced by total destruction.